The Icardi Saga is over. What next for Neymar? Bruno Fernandes agrees to leave. There's a dilemma for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and a transfer roundup, all coming up in the next few minutes, as I'm your host, Matt Froelich, here with the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first up, and to Mauro Icardi, who has finally left Inter Milan. This saga's not even been going on for the whole summer, but even longer than that. It's getting absolutely ridiculous, and now he's finally gone on a loan deal. He hasn't even moved permanently. For some strange reason, he actually extended his contract for another 2 further years at Inter Milan before making the move to PSG. Apparently he is part of their future, but just not part of their present. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, and I bet you there's going to be a whole nother saga next summer. Only if PSG don't buy him permanently. The year loan deal, which sees him move to Paris, has a clause in it which could see the club sign him for around 65 million euros. If they do that, when they haven't got rid of Neymar, which they haven't, they've still got Mbappe, Cavani, and even Di Maria, how on earth is Thomas Tuchel going to fit them all into the starting lineup? Thankfully, that's not my problem, that's more his problem. With Icardi, he's obviously going to be a fantastic striker and bring a wealth of goal-scoring experience to the team, but do they actually need him? Of course, Mbappe and Cavani are injured and Neymar's going to have to be reintegrated into the team, but are they all 4 of them going to start? My guess is that Icardi won't. Kylian Mbappe is clearly the #1 striker. When he's fit and ready to go, he definitely must play. So with this, you could probably see Cavani and Icardi fighting on the bench as to who's to get on the pitch, never mind who's going to end up scoring the goals. We've already seen Cavani and Neymar go at loggerheads when it comes to taking penalties. In my opinion, this isn't the greatest move for the club. For Icardi, sure, it's fantastic. He's got an extra contract to Inter and gets a chance to move away from the club. But for PSG, all they've done is add in another massive ego, and this is only going to cause further problems. Of course, he'll probably smash it in the league and they'll absolutely tear Liga apart, but I can't see them bringing much Champions League success. Along with this though, there was some other news from PSG that Alphonso Areola left the club to join Real Madrid, with Keylor Navas coming in the opposite direction. So with that said and done about Mauro Icardi, we're moving on to Neymar because surprise, surprise, he didn't move. Talk about a ridiculous saga. Real Madrid, Barcelona, even Juventus are thrown in there. Neymar went absolutely nowhere because no one could afford him. PSG are playing in a market all by themselves, and when the richest club in the world, aside from PSG, and Manchester City of course, in Barcelona, can't even afford you, what do you do apart from stay there? Of course, what is actually going to happen next? Well, the task of Thomas Tuchel is to reintegrate him into the squad. It's not exactly something that's never been done before by any manager, and of course, politically, they're going to have to do it because you can't have a 222 million euro superstar sat on the bench, or even worse, not even in the squad. In all honesty, he's going to come right back into the starting lineup. He's such a good player, and despite what you think about his diving, his antics off the field, PSG are definitely going to be better with him on the pitch. The one thing I will say though, is that I think he'll be looked after a little bit more. Maybe against the weaker sides, he might not play as much. Of course, he's going to want to play because effectively they're just stat padding how many goals they can score, him and the likes of Cavani and Mbappe, but rather his fitness will be saved for the crucial Champions League games where PSG will be hoping finally to get past the quarter-final stage. Hopefully, if Neymar could do this, stay fit, get back in the squad, the 27-year-old will be entering the prime of his career when he could eventually challenge Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo in winning the Ballon d'Or. No offense to Luka Modric, but I don't think he's going to be doing that again anytime soon. So next up, and a quick update from Bruno Fernandes. Now, the player was linked with a few moves away from Sporting over the summer, including, according to the man himself, having already agreed a deal to join Spurs, only for it to be blocked by the board. Now, with Real Madrid interested on the last day of the transfer window, that of course didn't happen. He has apparently agreed a deal with his own club, Sporting, to be able to leave in 2020. This, of course, has meant that every single club is back on red alert at the prospect of signing a player who did so fantastically well last season with over 25 goals. The 24-year-old will, of course, be on the radar of Manchester United and Spurs, who are definitely going to need him in the upcoming months. Christian Eriksen did stay at the club, but didn't sign a new deal just yet, meaning that Spurs could need a new attacking midfielder in the upcoming year or so, and with Manchester United's problems in that area, especially with Jesse Lingard, they'll definitely need that kind of player as well. And talking of Manchester United, it's a rather odd topic that I want to come on to, which has been thrown around in the last few days, about how successful they should be this season. So with all these stats and data coming out saying there's expected goals and there are expected shots on target and all this kind of nonsense, apparently Man United should be second because of the way that they're playing, but they're just not. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand how stats and data work, and I can understand how they can be helpful to some coaches and teams in the Premier League. But at the end of the day, if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net more than the opposition are, you're not picking up the points, you don't get prizes. You don't get to the top of the table. You don't sit in second close to the league leaders Liverpool. because you haven't got those goals. So there are two arguments to the stats and all of this data. First off is that yes, technically they are playing better than the other teams. They've got more expected goals and they should be doing better with their chances. That obviously brings the other side of this data. If you're not putting the chances away, you don't deserve them points. So there you have it. It's pretty obvious that the Manchester United just aren't scoring enough goals, and it's all the stats from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign as full-time boss which only prove that. In the last 16 games, Manchester United have only won 3 times. They've only scored more than 1 goal 3 times, and they've only won by more than 1 goal margin once in that whole sequence. Let's be honest, that is relegation form. You can point to the statistics and say they should be here, they should be there, but they're not, and things are looking rather worrying for Man United. Of course, it's not the end of the world. I'm not trashing them, I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I still think United will finish top 6. But yeah, I've got to take a step back and realise that the data isn't always going to save you on the pitch. But moving on lastly to a roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where we had a load of deals confirmed late last night. Manchester United are still interested in Ruben Dias from Benfica. Of course, that deal will have to wait until January. But of the deals that were done, Andre Silva moved to Frankfurt with Ante Rebic moving in the other direction. Barcelona's Brazilian midfielder Rafinha signed a new deal at the club before heading to Celta Vigo on a year-long loan. And Premier League clubs have apparently agreed to extend the transfer deadline day next summer and move it back to align with the rest of Europe. So that's all from me for today. Make sure you smash the subscribe button to stay up to date with all the daily news and the rest of the videos we've got coming out on Onefootball, which you can also see by clicking here or here. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below as well. And until next time, I will see you guys later.